Hola, familia.
Hi, this is James Noble.
This is Salom.
Yo, this is David Mashabela. You're on
Happy Days.
Happy Days?
Happy Days.
Happy Days podcast.
It's a happy day to have a good day.
So it's Happy Days on podcast. Right? Thank you so much for joining us for the next episode. A very special one, I must say. We are live here at, not necessarily live, but we are broadcasting from Maye Maye. The way the book is actually written, Maye Maye. You're going to hear the whole story about the richest history of Maye Maye, where everyone is thinking, let me just go to Maye Maye. I had people from all over, from the southwestern township, from your Fosloras, from Tembisa. Everyone is saying, Maye Maye. So we are here, Maye Maye, a very favorite place for everyone. As you can see at the passage, the very favorite passage from the compounds, the very historical compound that we'll talk more about it. And I'm featuring a special guest, I must say. Utasiga is Dr. Sipho Sithole. Dr. Siga, you have a PhD in anthropology. It's cultural anthropology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cultural anthropologist.
So, but why people? I see a lot of people when they're talking about you, they don't respect you. They don't give you the respect that you deserve. They don't include the doctor part of it.
No, they either call me Babustora.
Yeah, it's just that you're not a fussy person as to, yeah, but I'm actually a doctor. Don't just say.
They want to be called doctor.
Yeah.
Researcher. The credentials are there. So we have nothing else to do.
Okay. Because I didn't know that you're actually a doctor. I had to go to a profile and I was just busy asking myself when I was checking that is it really a doctor or what about wrong? When I'm just getting deeper to your profile, I can see you actually have the PhD in anthropology, which is a very, very important in South Africa, to have people like you.
Yeah, no, that's... Yeah.
That's just about it indeed. So maybe before we can even talk about your book, I want to go back just a bit because since you are here, I've long wanted to talk to you, So maybe just to look at, because I understand you've done quite a lot of things. You've done it all in the language of this country. Because you also, I know that you were an executive director at Gallo Music.
Yes.
Once in a while, and now you're also a founder of the Native Rhythms. When you're talking native rhythms, I'm sure people will remember. We're talking the likes of Kamagwini, Sipho. We're talking on Putuma, Zulu Boy, and my own favorite, Sol Penduga. Yeah. He's my favorite, Sol Penduga. Yeah. Those are my gurus, in the industry. People were actually studying. Yeah, we started this whole thing called podcast, as we are now vlogging and really enjoying ourselves. And we thought in some way it would actually kill radio. Remember when we were driving, we were talking about podcast killing radio, except to cause the FM. And also you also are part of the Afrocentric, where you're looking at poetry and music as well.
Afrocentric is an agency. So I started Afrocentric agency because I wanted to direct to the market. A problem with most artists that are doing well in the continent performing abroad, they are represented by white people.
Okay. Yeah.
There is this fascination by whites that you have discovered this gem as a Soweto. There is this artist from Africa in Soweto. So I bet we are quick to listen to those stories if you show only.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So if you goes to a festival in Europe, I've got this artist, and you want to Soweto, then I bet suddenly.
Yeah.
But if it's set by us, it's like we are not supposed to discover ourselves. So I did Afrocentric agency
to say, let me discover our
we
own.
don't want to be discovered. We can tell you who the artist is, who the talent is. All you need to do is to just need to believe us. It mustn't be because Ushumlu that you now believe that actually this is a true talent. And it's a sad story. You can check all the artists on the continent. From Salif Keita, Yusondo, all the names, even some artists that are here in South Africa, Busho Majozi, Fusi, they are represented by whites. Yes. There's a problem with white thinking and this colonial thing which we have to go to Africa to discover the black people. And black people cannot say, we are here we are. So the Afrocentric was set up to fight that, to say we will bring the artist.
It also creates the mediocre to say if you are an African and you're discovering another African, people don't take that serious.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm glad you catch it.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
That is the issue. And I don't know when it will end.
But I must say you've done quite a good work with regard to the music in this country. You know, I remember when you were at Ghana, I even once had a meeting. I'm not too sure if you remember the very early days, your 90s, after New Dispensation. We had a meeting with you in your office in Ghana. I wanted, because I had this love for music, you know, so I wanted to do a PR in jazz music, let's say, in South Africa. So, unfortunately it didn't happen, but we can say it actually paved it. Maybe you just saw, you know, sometimes if someone, people will just take it as and you find a person will just say, grow a bit and so that discover yourself more, you know, because not working with you, it actually even opened more doors for me. I even worked with the likes of Mr. Peter Cladd at Bula Music and had the joy of being part of the joy of jazz, you know, the standard band joy of jazz. So that is why I was saying musically.
At that time, Ghana was not playing jazz.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
We only had two artists that I remember, or three in jazz. It was Dondo.
Okay.
It was Tsunami. It was Music Ghana. Those were the three. The rest were, Ghana has always been established as a traditional sound.
Because even at the time Peter Cladd wrote me in, it was during the times of Yokeko Matsu, Yokunle Ayo, the Nigerian.
Well, I mean, the label that was big in jazz at that time was Sheer Sound.
Yes. Yeah, it's just to touch base on the rich history that you actually produced and you're involved in.
It was around 2003, by the way.
It was.
Not in this year. I only joined Ghana
2000. Yeah, it was early 2000. Yeah, 2000-ish. Yeah. But now looking at your book, I wanna really get into. There's a whole lot of, and to actually read this book, I just got the love because I want people to really support this book, because if you wanna know how this place called Joburg became Joburg, you actually understand from this book. It is one of the books that it is very rich into really understanding the urbanization, you know, and colonization as it is, you know. So maybe let's start back, Dasiga, to just talk about the history of migrant workers or people migrating from the villages to come and seek for diamonds and gold in this place called a place of gold, Johannesburg.
Well, the extraction of Africans, or the so-called natives back then, out of the villages to the city was a well-orchestrated scheme by colonialists. Because when the colonialists came to this country, Amangisi arriving in Port Natal in 1824, and then Amabhulu arriving in Vera around 1838 or something. And then the development of towns and cities and the industries, they also realized that they needed labor. And they did not need the weak labor. I mean, they had Indians as indentured servants coming from India, they had Asians coming, but they needed strong African labor, black labor. And we were not keen to leave villages because we had everything. We lived on the land, we were plowing, we were hunting, livestock. We had everything. And so they came up with all sorts of schemes. For instance, land dispossession was the biggest thing that affected how we lived in the villages. Because when you dispossess land and then you move Africans from arable land where they will grow products, food products, and then you move them to dry land that you cannot cultivate, and then you squeeze them in 1/3 of the land. And then you take 2/3 out of it. And now the Africans are trying to survive in this small piece of land with livestock and having to plow, and the land is not good for plowing. We actually were impoverishing them. And we're actually having them die in their own new settlements, which was now called native reserves and stuff. So that's one part they did. And then secondly, they imposed taxes, coal tax, hard tax, dog tax, and all of that, and they demanded that tax to be paid in monetary terms. It would have been easy, much I spoke in Dayz and including numbers, nonsense. No, you have to pay that in monetary terms. Doing that, it means we needed to go away. So that is how they put this scheme, that the only way we can get Africans out of the villages, they need to pay these taxes and they need to pay the man. And how do they earn money? They need to go and so that's how they started coming.
But it's amazing that they even managed to get into the chieftains, to our kings, and really make them to succumb to the circumstances.
Well, if you remember, the Bambata Rebellion of 1806 was a result of that, where these colonialists were now forcing our chiefs to be the ones who collect instances from villages.
Yes.
Some conformed, some refused, like Bambata of the Zondi clan refused to do that. And then started the rebellion of 1906. So there were chiefs that joined in that rebellion, Uskananda, as well as Farakanda, Omeseni, Kuzwayo, and others. There was also Kajanarake Zindaga, Stole. They were all involved in that rebellion. But of course, Abelin had firepower, guns and gunpowder. So we eventually lost, and then the Africans came. The discovery of gold in 1886 here in the Witwatersrand was one of the biggest human migration, not only of Africans from the villages, but also other mine explorers who came from all over the world. Where we are now, Maye Maye or Maye Maye, where we are. And after this war, there's a spread. It's called the Natal spread. In Natal spread is where the gold explorers came and set up their base. It is in the book. That's where they set up their base. And then Africans came here in numbers.
And just before we talk about the influx, let's talk about precisely the name Maye. Because someone might call it an outcry of the situation at that time, people. And then it changes Maye Maye. Now, Maye Maye, I'm not too sure as to how do we differentiate the Maye Maye of the M-A-Y-E and the Maye of M-I. So maybe if you can just take us through as to where that history came about.
So as gold was discovered in 1886. And then the mining migrants started setting up companies. So when they set up these companies, just up the road, there was a compound called a compound that was owned by a mining company, or two mining companies, Jubilee and Sipho.
Yes,
So that mining company had a compound just up the road from where we are, on a Jubilee and Sipho. So they had this compound, and in that compound there was a mining manager. His name was Saul Tusani from the town. And also he's not a small figure, Saul Tusani. He was the co-founder of the Natal Native Congress that eventually grew into the African National Congress. So as a mine compound manager who was now managing Africans living in the compound. So every time there was an accident, deep down in the mine, in the belly of the man, he was heard screaming, Maye Maye!
Oh,
yes. So this Maye Maye became a signature cry. Every time was, I need to back now, my sirens.
Yes,
Sirens,
yes,
now you will just scream Maye Maye, and then the body will come again from area. So then it became Maye Maye. The compound then became known as Maye Maye. And this Maye Maye was carried through even.
That's an outcry, as you described it in the video.
Even the traditional beer that was a sorghum beer that was being brewed, the compound eventually became known as Maye Maye. That's how the name came. We also find it now even in the records of the City of Joburg Executive Council in the 1940s when they started referring to it. So because they didn't know Maye Maye, they just made in terms of the local or whatever, they just spelled it Maye Maye.
Okay.
But it's Maye Maye.
Yeah. In actual fact. Yeah, it's just nowadays of putting it, Maye Maye. Yeah, okay. Now, I know that the place also was a hostel at some stage.
So, as I was saying, the two mining companies, Salisbury and Jubilee, in this compound. When that mining company went under in 1913, before the first the city bought, or they leased the compound, the city of Johannesburg. They leased the compound so that they could house native laborers who were working in the electrical department, tramways, by that time, summer trams as well. Even those who were in the sanitary division, the cleaners, they leased this. So this is where the then Maye Maye compound was.
Okay. Oh yes.
It was only in 1922, 1927 that we begin to see some drawings. Some drawings of the city engineer starting to draw. They had now discovered this where we are now was a hostel. Now you must understand why it was a hostel. In the early discovery of Johannesburg, or they say the establishment of the town, city,
there were no
automobiles.
Yes.
So the mode of transport was horse-drawn carriages. So when the cars started coming through, they had no use for the horses.
Okay.
So the horses that started to disappear. Now we have this building. So we now have this building now that is now vacant and up for grabs. So the city started having some drawings on what it would look like. I think they're on page there's on page 53. They're beginning to do that, but I think the big one is on page 47, where the engineers drawing, 1927 engineers drawing. You can see now what they're beginning to sketch how we will change this into a hostel. And here it is. Town Council of Johannesburg, Town Engineers Department. Now they started doing the drawings in 1927, but when they completed it, they only then moved here in 1947. And when you read in the papers and in the documents, you will see they will talk about the new Maye Maye, the new Maye Maye. Bible, they were referring to
this one,
the old one.
The other side, yeah.
So that is where we are now. So these have now been converted into human settlements. And they are now, even when you look at the stores, there's a high volume of interest for the horses.
Okay.
So they've converted them, and when they converted them, the city even they passed a resolution that there would be more Zulus in this compound than any other hostel. I mean, there are hostels here, there's Denver, there's GP Hostel, and all of that.
Yes.
I think it is on page.
Because I remember also different nations who came in and settled, and there was also a conflict in the early days of Maye Maye, where it was on the verge of collapsing at the same time.
Yeah, well, I don't cover that. If you talk about
ethnic
yes, I don't cover that as such in this except to say that it was always predominantly Zulus that would come and reside. Most of the work was manual. There was not this machinery that you had, and they needed strong people to go down and really use shovel and amapil and everything. And it was then only us. So the numbers kept growing in terms of the influx of the migrants coming to the village and to the city. And it started also having a strain in the city, as well as the aristocrat of the who is who in Johannesburg were beginning to be worried about mingling with Africans. For instance, in 1896 there was a census that was conducted. There was already 102,078 inhabitants that were now right. And some of them, 61,000 was just on the market square, which is further downtown Johannesburg. There was about 50,000 Europeans made of white coming from Europe, and some coming born in England and Wales and Ireland. And then there were also those that were born in Africa that were
So the migrants were coming for hard labor.
They were coming for hard labor.
Yeah. Okay.
But now, because they were coming in numbers, so all of these Europeans were now populating the city. Not like these Africans living amongst them.
Okay.
So you then have three types of native labor.
So that's where the native came to.
There was native labor that was needed in the back, in the houses of these Europeans. So they were allowed to live in the back compound. That's why most suburbs have got a cottage. The reason why there's a cottage is because it was for labor that was only needed to sleep
there to do domestic work.
And at that time, domestic work was just men. There were no women allowed to come to the city. So umuntu kitchen, wayesenza kitchen, work both in the kitchen as well as in the yard as a gardener, right? And then there were those that were only required to come to the city to come and work in factories when the factory opens and when it closes. So they didn't need them to be in the city. They needed, then they pushed them to the townships. They must only travel to work and knock off. Then there were the mines. So the mines were also in the city. So those had to be in the mining.
Okay.
So that's how you had these three types of human settlements for natives. So I mean, so when the Parliament passed this Native Act of 1923, it was then supposed to manage all of that.
Okay.
So hence we then find a hostel like Maye Maye, Denver, JP, Josh Koch, and then others that are in townships.
Yeah. And men hostels.
Yeah, because there were no women were not allowed.
But the actual influx even forced the very lawmakers to create what we have as Soweto now.
Yes, exactly.
But I understand also there's a part where you mentioned.
Before we get to that, so I was just giving you the numbers of
The influx.
but the Africans that came by when there was about 14,000 Africans by 18. That first came to the vet position. But by 1888, by 1890, there were 88,000. And then that number grew. By 1899, there was already 100,000 Africans here.
Yeah.
So that is why this human settlement dilemma had to be sorted once and for all. And then by 1910, there was 200,000 Africans being forcefully removed. From the villages, only because the land was getting smaller for grazing, and also there had these heavy taxes imposed upon them.
So in that process, I understand that Pinville, when moving just out of Joburg, was the first one to actually have, people or African people coming in to stay there. It was actually built for that problem of the influence.
So that influence, and of course then other townships and other settlements came, southwestern townships came in Soweto, Orlando,
So in your own essence, Tasile, do you think that the government has actually is playing the role into taking advantage of this richest place for Maye Maye in terms of economic benefit for the country and the city?
Well, forget about it. This place has now been cohabitated by people who are determined to make it in the city, whether government is there or not is there. And the reason why we have this challenge of government not really paying attention to the hostels, and particularly this place, which is an economic trade zone. Firstly, they don't read. Government doesn't read officials. They don't read to find the history. Why are people here in the first place, and the circumstances and the conditions under which they live, so that they can determine the need and what they can do to make their livelihood here bearable. The fact that we are here today on the 1st of July and they haven't had electricity for 2 weeks. It means government doesn't care. That's really what it is. I don't know what it will take for them to actually understand the challenges we have.
Yeah.
Over the minutes containing the name of the city, never even though there is an number 84996/86, which means 1886. Those were the Johannesburg city council minutes that refer to the name of the city and where the name comes from, but it was never established as it. So there are speculations, for instance, which could have come from Vice President Christian Johannesburg and Johan BFC, who was the Secretary Surveyor General of the office, and the other names. So this Johan comes across.
Because I looked at the name, I said Johan, maybe that's why Johannesburg.
Yes. Well, those are the speculations.
But when I mention the name Mtutuze, what comes to your mind?
To Kill a Man's Bride. He wrote an amazing short story called To Kill a Man's Bride, which was about life in the hostels. That's why I feature him as an informant interviewee to share with us what is his knowledge of the hostels. Maye Maye. He's the one who talks about the documentary. It was now known as Maye Maye. He's well researched on the story, on
So would you say if should Jan Smart won the elections against Hendrik van Voet, things would have been different?
There would have been probably better racial tolerance. So it's one. There's a book out now. Scholars on that very same.
Because reading that
Decisive election.
abstract, you just became a bit angry when you reading. Was like, oh, what? I didn't even know. Now I start to respect the Jan Smart road.
Now patience is forever from Soweto.
Oh.
Was
Guys, patient, Republic.
Eh?
This is the beauty of podcast. You can talk and
Just walk,
even
no,
answer a
like,
call.
walk straight through the gate until
we are at liberty
hit
to
the
do
last
anything.
passage
This
and
is
then turn right.
podcast on happy days. That's it,
No,
guys. Yeah.
Walk straight through the
Joburg.
gate. So the passage through the gate until you hit the...
As you can hear, we're directing someone to come here.
And then you turn
Patients
right.
from Soweto. So
When you hit it, there's no more turn. Then you can go down the passage.
at least happy days will be covered on Soweto now. That's the beauty of it, you know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe, Bob Joburg, just to wrap up, what is it that you think if someone buys this book to actually get or gain,
Two things. An in-depth knowledge of the discovery of the founding of Joburg as a city and the arrival of Africans coming to the city. So that's one. And why they came and how they came. Two is an appreciation of people living and working in the hostels, trying to survive in a city that doesn't want to.
You get to have that knowledge and appreciation. Yes. No, thank you so much, Bob Joburg, for really, giving us more of your time. I know you are a busy fellow, but just to give us just one bit of your time, it means a lot for us. And just to talk about this book, because I must say I've really enjoyed reading the book, and I'm hoping fellow South Africans will actually do the same. It's amazing, It's the history and the heritage of Maye Maye market on happy days. You can buy this book. It's called Maye Maye, an outcry. And so to understand what was happening with the history of migrants, people migrating from the villages, coming here to work and dig the diamonds and gold in the Joburg very history or richest history in terms of making ends meet, making money. So I'm hoping that people will actually support our own, because we need to buy South African. And so this is really our own. And thank you so much. And do subscribe, continue to subscribe on Happy Days on podcast. We are out as always. Right? I funny, it's not funny.
So patience from Soweto is here trying to...
Yeah, no, patience must come. I mean, imagine, patient is not the first time as a second time.
The buzz of the city is what inspires art.
This is Happy Days on podcast. You guys, Maye Maye. It's literally my first time being here, but I'm over the moon. I'm excited. Today, Sinovani Siswami. Ntombi, namhlanje sihamba noNtombi. We're going to ask her basic questions ngendawo ukuthi kunjani. Guys, ningamind ngibanga umsindo ngoba it's literally loud. Anyways, Ntombi, how's your experience like? Is it your first time ukuba la Maye Maye?
No, it's not my first time, and
Yeah.
it's a very amazing place. It's nice. I love the meat, the vibe, like people.
Yeah.
You meet like
Different people, yeah.
With nice
Yeah.
personalities. It's very nice.
So when uqala nini ukuza la Maye Maye? Usho ukuthi that was actually your first time.
Uqala kwami ukuza Maye Maye, it wasn't this place. It was for Maskandi place. So by changing, yes.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah, but Maskandi. After Maskandi, by GP then ngoba
Also bengekho ngapha kahle kahle. So where's Maskandi exactly? I'm a bit confused ngokukhuluma ngeMaskandi.
Bayisa eGP Park because this place bekwenta amazulu amapark.
Oh, it was like hostel nyana so phela and a taxi rank or something.
No, it wasn't saying uyinyama.
Yeah,
Abantu amazulu uyinyama, yes.
Thola abanye ke guys siyakhipha siphethe abonkabi angazi noma kuthiwa inkabi yami noma kuthiwani kodwa singweke basintroduce basitshela ukuthi awobani futhi ubani ekhama Ayanda
Yeah, ubusi.
Fusi
Ukubela ukhabazela lo.
oh Khabazela we Khabazela okay Khabazela
Makhanya.
bani Makhanya no Makhanya okay guys kunjani ukuba la kwa Maye Maye ningasitshela ukuthi i-experience yenu yokuba la kule space kunjani for wena
Ilana nje ubumnandi nje. Umnandi kajatshulwa nje.
yeah
Ngona ngikuthandile ukuthi ngizela.
yeah akukho mhlawumbe okubhekile ngoba ngiyabona ukuthi eyintombi zala zinhle nazo ke
Sibhekele isitoko. Hayi, ngoba John Full gate.
baningi impela for wena experience yakhe njani la
Hayi mina ngijwayele ukufika la nabona.
oh uqala
Yeah, ngiqala ukufika la.
and so far kunjani
Mangizobe fun nje ngisuke ngiselana yabona ngizojabula ngibona abantu abahlukene kubelokishini yabona. Umnandi nje yabona.
mnandi nje ukuthi nje uzokhuleka ujabule
Enjoy nje ngibone nabo mama.
yazi abomama yona okay
Yabona nje inyama yala ekhaya. Cha hayi, iyona engisanga phakathi.
bengifuna ukubuza ngayo inyama kahle kahle
Yabona ngabe sesifika la ekhaya.
Yeah.
Yonke into nje kuba mnandi yabona inyama siyakhuleka. Yazi indawo yokuphumula nje siphumula nje kamnandi.
Ayikho
relax, ayikho enye into nje emnandi. Ubumnandi nje nengane ke phela nazo ayicha siyayibheka ke nazo. Yonke into imnandi ayikho.
ayikho inyama engekho la ngoba ngibonile kuyasikwa kuningi nje la
Ayikho inyama engekho. Njengoba ubona nje kugcwele nje ivini ngale kugcwele. Uthi bonke abantu bafuna indawo yokurelaxa bafike bavumule bahlale kamnandi bazenzele into zabo bashayise ntambama abayibuyele ntambama abuyele ezindlini ku right yabo kusuthi yonke into i right
ufuna ukuzithola ngale namothi le nje ngiyabona isiphithiphithi
uma uthola ngalena uthola bonke abantu baphethe ama-okapipe
Okay.
yonke indawo nje bashaya kamnandi barelaxile uyayibona
thank you nkabi yami
Ya umakhanya kanani kukuningi just ubumnandi nje kuphela. Jabulile nje kuphela.
Ziyakhala ngiyabona uphethe yenekeni yakho kumnandi
Ziyakhala kuphela kuwona amagama
Asibonge.
Jabulile umakhanya.
There you have it, you guys. There you have it. Akukapheli baningi abantu la. Let's continue, man. Let's just continue. Utama ubani ekhaya?
Awubongani Khumalo.
Babheke bongani.
Ubongani Khumalo.
Bongani Khumalo.
Le ndawo nguye ngoba futhi ngihlangana nabasakazi bami.
Yeah.
Live 99.
Oh, okay.
And we etsana le ndawo I'm meeting amanye ama-hustlers like me.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, my love. Yes.
Thank you so much. Ngiyabonga nebhuti wami.
Taking i-spirit esikubo esibafake kule extent abakuyo. Sure.
Kuthaza nabanye kahle.
Wow.
Abaqhubeke benze same thing.
Wow.
Siyabonga bhuti wami. Hey yo guys, I feel so special right now. I'm literally within the gents, okay? Bangiphethe njenge-queen. Ziyakhipha. Anyways, what's your name, my guy? Brian and
Goodman.
and
I'm Steven.
Steven. There you have it, you guys. Okay, we're gonna ask them same questions basically. Ukuthi kuyenzakalani lana, you guys. Your experience la kwa Maye Maye. Why la kahle kahle? Aningitshela ukuthi why la? Why nisifuna la?
I feel like Maye Maye is a place where a lot of artists come here.
Yeah.
And we showcase our ideas. For an example,
So you're an artist yourself?
yes.
Oh, great.
So this is what I'm pushing. It's called Incognito. This is the brand.
The experience is very cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, I came here for the food, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And secondly, obviously the alcohol. And I think Maye Maye is a very good place because, it's a lot of music, you know what I'm saying? So it accommodates everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can get piano, you can get house.
I was about to ask, Moti, there's a lot of music. I'm confused.
But I mean, I go to piano, so it's what I like about the place, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's different vibes. Yeah. So I think it's a very good place. So wherever you are, if you get the chance, I think you should come to Maye Maye, man. This is where it's popping, and never forget Incognito representing out here. Yeah.
So Nyashu, you advise anyone ongakazozela ukuthi abe khona la?
What I can say is usahlalele ndaba, like you should pull over, you know what I'm saying? Pull over, come for some meat, for some booze. And I see a lot of beautiful people here, you know what I'm saying?
Alright guys, so far wonke umuntu ngitshela about the ladies, but it's okay. I'm a lady myself, but it's okay. Bakakhulumi ngami, but it's okay. guys, literally, wonke umuntu is having a good time in there. So basically, I think kumele ngivale kwamanje because literally wonke umuntu enjoy la ngaphakathi. Nami ngifuna ukusithola la ngaphakathi. Ngifuna enjoy guys. You know what, ne? I think next time when we come back here, cela ukuthola nina, so bes interviewer nina. But okwamanje asivale khona la. This is Happy Days on Podcast and I'm so your girl, Zayda.
Subscribe and become a member of the biggest family, the Happy Days on Podcast family.